Take it easy and solve the school lunch problem with SPAM. S-P-A-M.
こんにちは、タイガークローラジオ。You are listening now. Back J.
You are listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Number one in vintage computer and video game entertainment. And now your host, Critical Failure.
What's going on, everybody? This is... Yes, you know what this is. It's Critical Failure. You guys are listening to Tiger Claw Radio. This week, got some good stuff for you. We got one shot of the van cast, one tour of duty with the van this week. We got music from Kirby's Dream Band. We're going to be playing stuff from the Pink album, which is a bit of a legendary album in the video game music subgenre. We've also got a guest spot courtesy of Balzac via audio comment later on in the show. Lots and lots of good stuff. So alright, boys and girls, stick with me. We're going to kick things off with Kirby's Dream Band. This is off the Pink album. I first became aware of Kirby's Dream Band from Retro Kaiser. He pointed out that the Pink album had come on sale on vinyl, and this was just before like the vinyl resurgence for me. I kind of had my record collection, and I was pretty happy with it. And he was like, "Yeah, man, this is on sale, and this is the thing to get. It's like $25." Didn't think much of it at the time. Now I wish I'd gotten it. Quite a track, I must say. I'm glad you can get the MP3s for free off of Bandcamp. That's pretty sweet. All right, boys and girls, we're almost 4.5 minutes in. Let's go ahead. We're going to take our one and only tour of duty at the van for this week. It's the Vancast on Tiger Claw Radio. Oh my, boys and girls, it's Friday and it's raining out. It's raining out real bad. Let's see. New Year's is coming up. The end of this next week is going to be MagFest. It's a busy time. What did I do yesterday? Yesterday, sat down with some of my Steam games, as I often do. Played a bunch of Dead by Daylight, as I often do. Great game, still a great game. Also, I sat down with Duke Nukem 3D World Tour. I put off buying this game for a long time because I bought Duke Nukem 3D Total Meltdown when it came out, and I kind of felt like this was just the same game, except when it changed hands, they took down Total Meltdown and they put this game out. It's like, how many times can I buy Duke Nukem again? Well, it finally went down to like $4, so I picked it up. If you've played Duke Nukem, I mean, you know what to expect for the most part. So I dived into this thing and I shot through the first episode, which is the shareware episode, which I played through many times in life. Couple of the things that this version has that other versions don't. It's got a new episode, which is pretty cool. And I started playing that as well. That's kind of fun. But there's a feature where when you die, and this is true on any skill level, when you die, it shows you like the last, 30 minutes or so, and you have a progress bar, and you can decide where in time you want to resume the game from. So if you get shot and killed, you can just go back in time 10 seconds and then not get shot and killed. Very weird. It's like, I don't know. So there's literally no penalty for death anymore. Now, to be fair, this was a game where most people would use save scumming to get through it, and it was designed so that you could use save scumming, and the difficulty was hard enough that you really had to in some places, unless you were playing on easy. Hang on a second. It drive time. Yeah, there we go. But yeah, now you don't even have to save. You can just go back in time when you die, and that's all it takes. But the game holds up. It's a solid port. I have not yet had the chance to play it online, but one of my pals at work also picked it up, so I'm hoping to do that soon enough. Oh, also there was a director's commentary mode, which is pretty sweet. I tried that out, not being sure how that would turn out. I was really skeptical. But what it does is it puts little icons all over the map in real time, little pictures of microphones, and you walk up to them and you press the use button, and then you can hear the developers talking about back when they made it. I played through a couple of levels like this because I wanted the achievement, but I actually really enjoyed it. Playing through the very first level, the commentary pointed out like little secrets that I never noticed. As many years as I've been playing this game, I never noticed. For example, in the bathroom of the first level of Duke Nukem 3D, there's an email address printed in teeny tiny letters on the bottom of one of the stalls. And there's a phone number printed in teeny tiny letters on top of one of the urinals. I've been playing this game for decades. I never saw those before. So that was pretty cool to really learn something new and hear the old devs talk about their game. So I've been enjoying Duke Nukem. I played a little bit of Resident Evil, the GameCube remake of the original Resident Evil. I picked that up as well in my Steam games this winter. I picked that up as well as Resident Evil 0. And I started playing through it, and we're talking about, in my opinion, what is the scariest game of scary games is the Resident Evil remake. Now, one thing I noticed is they added an easy mode that wasn't there on the GameCube. And you're able to take down zombies in 2 or 3 shots. I don't know about that. But that Resident Evil game had this thing where it's the only Resident Evil game where each particular zombie is scary and threatening. You got to be careful around the zombies. They They're hard to take down. They take up a lot of resources, and if they get a hold of you, it's big trouble, right? I remember that very much from that game. So it's cool to have that on PC. It's cool. It runs well. You know, it's got some options for the controls, which I thought were interesting. Like, you can switch off tank controls, and you can make it control a lot more like Resident Evil 4 did. I always liked the tank controls, but I know a lot of people dislike it, so it's cool that they added that in there. I personally found it to be a little difficult, because with the tank controls, if you're pressing the up button, you're always moving forward. Doesn't matter what the camera angle is. But with this, if you're pressing right, your character starts moving right, and if the camera angle changes and that puts you moving back in the direction you came from, you're just going to turn around and go back the other way. You know what I mean? So as the camera angle changes, so too your inputs have to change as well. But apart from that, it's Resident Evil. It's the game I remember it to be, which is pretty cool. One thing I'd really like to see, I want to see the original 3 make it onto Steam. Come on Capcom, you can do that. The original PS1 classics. Just bundle them together. Put it up for like $30, $40, whatever it is, some overpriced amount. It's okay, you know, I'd pay it. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? Everybody's going bananas over Resident Evil 2, the HD remake's getting ready to come out. It's alright, that's great. Just give us the original Resident Evil 2. I had that on PC briefly many years ago until my mother threw it out. I know it exists. That was the version of the game where when you would walk towards the door, like when you would go from one room to another, Resident Evil famously had this, you know, let's zoom in on the door for the loading screen. You could actually skip that screen. You could press the space bar and skip right through it. It made the pacing of the game go a lot faster. Alright, so here's the deal, guys. I want to do this more. Like, I didn't even talk about what game I would be playing if I were back home, but I'm getting ready to get on the highway and it's pouring rain, so I'm kind of worried and I want to get off here. Let's see. Alright, so for safety's sake, I'll see you guys back in the studio. Peace. Just to fill in the gaps, if I didn't have to go to work today, I probably would have spent the day playing Resident Evil games, because Resident Evil is the big thing for me with the Steam sale this year. The Resident Evil GameCube is what is really sticking with me, and that's what I ended up thinking about all day at work today. So that was the only Vancast I have. I'm tapped out for the Vancast this week, and we are only 13 minutes in. So let's do this, boys and girls. We're gonna play another one from the Pink album from Kirby's Dream Band. Again, I don't know how you're going to get a hold of the vinyl, but you're more than welcome to go get this album for free off of Bandcamp. They offer it. It's 16 tracks. It's top-notch stuff. This is the Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It's very, very familiar. Everything on this album is super, super familiar. And it jams hard. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Oh yeah, Kirby's Dream Band, everybody. I got to get that in my car. I have that album in a folder sitting on my desktop, but I don't have it on my phone, and I don't have it on a disc in my car, and I don't have the data to play streaming music every morning. I got to find some way to get that album in my car. Haven't done that yet. Okay, boys and girls. But for now, I want to take some time to just remind you guys it's a Patreon-sponsored show, and I want to thank the sponsors. These gentlemen are given other resources to make sure that TCR comes back every single week, no matter what. So they get a little exclusive content. They also get early access to the show. As soon as it's done tonight, I'm going to put it up so that they can listen to it. And I'll read their names off in the Hall of Distinguished Gentlemen. They are Hemrock, James, Sendu, Tecmo Balls, Dorabka, and the Cartridge Brothers. And I hope they and you had a great Christmas this year. And a great New Year's as we march on to New Year's. Oh, yeah. All right, boys. I have the I have the stuff. We're gonna go back 3 days ago. This one's from. We got 2 audio comments from Balzac. Okay, one from 3 days ago, one from 2 days ago. I've not heard these yet. I usually listen to these on my own prior to playing them. But we're gonna go in. We're gonna go in fresh and new, and we're gonna listen to it together, and we're gonna see what's up. All right, my man, what's up?
So yeah, it's 1:11 in Christmas morning, and decided to record an audio comment for a couple podcasts because can't really get any sleep right now because I think 2 main factors. One is I'm going to be seeing some family later today that I haven't seen in a while, so I'm kind of excited for that. But I think the main reason is I drank a little bit too much eggnog earlier tonight or last night, so I'm kind of feeling a sugar rush. So I decided. Forget it. Like, instead of why not kill some time and record some audio comments for some podcasts? So, here I am. So, which topics can I discuss? Oh, I think they announced recently, or not recently, but maybe 2 weeks ago, they're remaking Crash Team Racing, apparently. So, gotta take your take on that, because it's not gonna be like a lazy port. It's gonna be a full-on remake. So, everything's gonna be in high def, and it's going to be an online multiplayer, and I think there's also split screen. So, because I have to get your take on it, because I think I heard you say once that you equated Mario Kart, or, Crash Team Racing to Mario Kart, and maybe even thought it was better than it, which, that's pretty good. Like, I played Crash Team Racing I think it was the second or third original PlayStation game, PlayStation game I got with my PlayStation 2 when I got that in early 2000s, so I have fond memories of that game, so it'll be nice. Well, I kind of want to play the original first before I might think about getting this remake, which is coming on Xbox One and PS4, but I don't know if they announced the PC port for it yet, so I don't know if you'll be able to acquire that, but there probably will be, since the original Crash Trilogy remake got ported to the PC, so you could probably expect it coming there. So, yeah, and speaking of PlayStation, after this debauchery called the PlayStation Mini came out, I decided to, take it into my own hands and actually get this thing called the PSIO. If you remember from my previous audio comments back, a few months ago, I was talking about this thing for the Saturn called the Rare Phoebe, where you could replace the optical drive with an SD card reader and then read ISOs off of that. Well, apparently this is a thing for the PlayStation, the PlayStation equivalent of this, except for this one, you just you plug it in the serial port of, original PlayStation models, and you have to do you have to solder a couple points. You could do that, or the thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to ship my motherboard of my original PlayStation to these guys that are making this PSIO, and they're going to solder it for me. It's only like $15. And then probably it's going to be another $15 for shipping. So in the grand total, it's going to be $30 for this service, and I paid $110 for the actual unit. So it's about $140? Yeah, $140 in total to get this thing. But I think it will be worth it, though, because, a lot of the original PlayStation library, it's going up in price. Not as much of the Saturn, but even then, some of the stuff from original PlayStation going up there. Like, there's a couple RPGs that I always wanted to play that I'll be able to hopefully play with this thing, which, like Xenogears, Lunar 1 and 2 remake. Shout out to G&DB. And Saga Frontier. And what else is there? I guess Tomba. Oh yeah, Tomba's another one I always wanted to play but was never able to because of the high price tag. So that will be something. So PSIO, look into that if you want to, relive. I don't know if you are because it's a hefty price to, get into it. But if you're interested or any of your listeners are interested in this thing, definitely check it out. And probably when I'm because the delivery time for the next units for this PSIO, when I bought it, they said it was going to be shipped in, I think, March of 2019. So I have a few months left to go until I'll be able to acquire one. But when I do, I'll give you a status report on how it went, getting in and getting this installation fee, done. So yeah, that's about it. So 2018 is done and 2019 is coming upon us soon. So, just want to wish you a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and hopefully we have a good 2019 next year. So until then, see you next year.
Balzac, my man, good to hear from you, brother. I hope you ended up having a good Christmas. I know you talked about drinking eggnog and getting a sugar rush. This was the sugar rush of all sugar rushes for me, my man. Listen, I've been on Weight Watchers since last year. Okay, last year, right about this time, I was getting up there in weight. I was 208. I was like just about 210. And so my wife and I went on Weight Watchers, and we kept with it. And I lost 40 pounds, and I'm still on it now. So when Christmas came, my wife made all these Christmas cookies. That's the thing she does. She's really good at baking. So she makes all these Christmas cookies. And we were like, one thing I've never done on Weight Watchers is have a cheat day. So this was the first ever quote unquote cheat day. And I didn't like go crazy. I just had maybe 4 or 5 cookies, something like that. Something that off of Weight Watchers I would have done quite a lot. But they were really good, and I could feel the blood pumping through my veins. It was the biggest sugar rush. Like, I was kind of scared for my health. I was like twitching, and it was really bad. So that was the biggest sugar rush I think I've ever had in my life. And I got right back off of them. I haven't done cookies since. That's enough cookies for me. Okay, you talked about Crash Team Racing. My older brother had a copy of Crash Team Racing, and I remember it very, very well. I didn't play Mario Kart 64. So Crash Team Racing was the racing game from that era that I remember. I seem to remember it coming out before Mario Kart 64, but I don't know that for sure. I'd have to check the timetables or the release dates. I remember it being a really, really good game. It was one of the last games I think I ever played with my older brother before I moved out of my mom's house. So it's definitely nostalgic. About the PS1 games you mentioned, specifically you mentioned Xenogears, Lunar 1 and 2, Saga Frontier, and Tomba. All of those games have always been difficult to acquire. So yes, games are going up in price, but it's not like it's not like Tomba was $20 last year and now it's $100. It's always been expensive. So it is what it is. As far as the PSIO is concerned, it sounds like a neat gadget. I would be interested to hear, once you get yours all sorted out, how it works and if you feel like it was worth the money. Maybe at that point I might consider it. We'll see. Actually, I think I'd be I'm curious to know, because there's a lot of unanswered questions about it, but it sure does sound cool, doesn't it? All right. So that was right after Christmas, and I have one from yesterday that was posted in response to not last week's podcast, but I think the week before that, the one where that was called Artifact is in Trouble. Let's go back and listen to what he's got to say.
So yeah, it's the
same audio comment. It's the same one. He posted the URL twice, and I didn't realize it. Okay, that's all right. It is what it is. Thanks for leaving the audio comments, man. You know how much I appreciate those, and they're so rare. Nobody does it anymore, so thanks for that. Well, all right, boys and girls. Desm101 writes at 42 minutes in, I think the upscaler he's talking about is the RetroTink.com. I heard good things about it, and it's less an OSSC or FrameMeister than it, though it lacks some features. It's got an OSSC OSSC a few months ago, and now I use it. I got an OSSC a few months ago, and now I use it all the time for lag-free gaming on original systems that output RGB. Truly awesome to output HDMI, but capturing it can be a headache at times. Great episode, and I hope you had a nice Christmas. I did, man. Thanks. And good luck with your lag-free solutions. Mecha Menace responds with, the RetroTink does a straight scale conversion to HDMI. There is a button for smoothing, for a smoothing filter if you like the look. At first I thought it would be great to have clean RGB, but the effects in retro games are affected. You lose stuff like faux transparencies. Also, the price required for all the special cables and modeling for consoles for RGB is significant. I never had a headache finding an LCD TV with a variety of analog inputs. However, that might not be the case in the future. If there is lag, I don't notice it in most games except one, Super Mario World. If it's there, it must be present in other games, and that's why I suck at video games. Ha! But this device I'm getting should help. Ooh, a little pop there. And Desm responds with, yeah, I'm similar. My Vizio LCD has RCA component, composite, and even a coaxial input, and I plug my top loader NES in for some analog input goodness. Right now, the Saturn, PS2, and Genesis 32X Sega CD are the only ones I really need RGB from, since the Dreamcast is going through a VGA box into HDMI. And the rest of my systems are emulation machines or older output, such as S-Video for the 3DO. Looking ahead into the future, I wouldn't mind having FPGA systems only connected to the flat screen and get a BVM monitor for true retro experience of older consoles. And Mecha Menace responds again with, this explains why I'd rather have the straight analog to digital conversion rather than going through the ordeal of RGB FrameMeisters, cables, PVMs, and he posts a link to a Twitter article. Let's see it. I urge Critical Failure to share this tweet in the mailbag segment describing the images of the link shown in the specific message in the tweet. Let's take a look. Oh boy. Ah, yes. Let me fill you in. I've seen this elsewhere before. Benj Edwards, right? Forgot where this example is from, but it's amusing. Notice how the narrow link is on the left and how he appeared to the players on a 4:3 TV on the far right with rectangular pixels. Sometimes the original artists took the stretching effect into account when designing. Not always, though. What he shows is 4 different frames of Link from Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link. And on the left side, we see something that's likely taken from emulation. I can't exactly see what the text is. What indie developers think retro games look like. And it's the pixel perfect emulation look. And then there's filters attached and then whatnot. And when you get to the far right, you're looking at the example that you would see playing on a CRT. Now on a CRT, the square pixels are blurred into ovals or circles. So what happens is you end up with a much smoother picture. It's not, you wouldn't say crisp or sharp, but smoother. And so that's what he's saying. When they design the characters, they're designed with that smoothing effect in mind. And yeah, there's quite a difference. If you want to know what he's talking about, you can head back to the comments section from last week. Look at the exchange between Desm101 and Mecha Menace. They talk about this kind of thing. My solution, guys, I play on a flat screen TV that really has some age to it. It's not a new TV by any stretch of the imagination. The thing's probably got like 10 years on it. And it's got a coax input, and it's got RGB inputs and all that kind of stuff. So I don't have to go through junction boxes to make conversions, thankfully. The downside is it's caused a cable soup in my setup that sometimes makes it really difficult to play. There's a lot of times where I look at my collection and it's like, you know what? I'm looking at the case for Twisted Metal 2 right now, but there's no way in heck I'm going to wrestle with that setup to get Twisted Metal 2 to run. That unfortunately does happen. So my solution isn't perfect either. But thank you guys for sharing. You two are clearly more knowledgeable in this topic than me. So thanks very much. Light Studios, good old Sen of Do. He left some comments on an older episode. This is the Pac-Man Fever one, and he says, Audacity could probably get rid of some of that static with its noise reduction feature. Yeah, Sendu, here's the thing. when it comes to making podcasts, I can only do so much post-processing. I have to make it as post-processing light as possible, because otherwise I won't be able to do it every week. That's I think a mistake that people make. Hey, we'll just take a conversation and we're gonna and then I'll edit it afterwards. Nah, I can't do any editing, because the second I start doing editing, that's when everything falls apart. My solution instead is, instead of being tuned into the computer to hear myself, I have earphones plugged directly into the soundboard now, so I can hear myself in real time. It's what I should have been doing all along, but now if there's gonna be static, I'll hear it right away, and I can stop the recording and fix it. So retroactively, not a whole lot I can do without going crazy, but at least I have some kind of solution moving forward. And he also writes, that was kind of fun hearing you comment over your own chiptunes. Could be an idea for future videos. You know, I hope so. You know, I got the Akai MPK Mini MIDI keyboard, and I've been playing with it a little bit in, I haven't been able to make it work with Famitrack card, but I've been playing with it in Linux Multimedia Studio, and I made a couple of tunes, but it's just baby steps right now. You know, I have other projects I'm working on, and I got MagFest, and it's if I made music frequently enough, I would love to do it like that. But yeah, I want to be as open as I can with my demos and with my creations, because I think back to the days when I was really excited about Starship Amazing, and they had a blog, and when they would work on songs, they were like, hey man, we just made this song. Here's 4 different versions of it. I remember they did that once. 4 different versions of the same song, so you can hear how they're different. I thought that concept was amazing. That was when they first started working on Gearhart Dekrion and Scoops the Robot. They were that wide open with their projects, and that's how I want to be here. So you know, we'll see how it goes. Mecha Menace writes, that first chippy synthy track took the framework from Star Fox Corneria stage. I'm not saying it was on purpose. Sometimes you can hum the original tune, only to find out later it was something you heard prior in a movie or something. Ow, ow. How did you get banned from Reddit? It's important to share it with others so we don't repeat the same mistakes. Speaking of Dig Dug, how sweet would Namco Championship? How sweet would the Namco Championship? I'm messing this up. How sweet would Namco championing the ship out of the Dig Dug be? Pac-Man worked. Their Galaga Legions attempt wasn't as popular. Check out the icon for that. It's a huge ripoff of the Slipheed ship. Taito's updates work so well. I'd hate to see Namco lose out since they have such a vast array of classic intellectual property. Maybe Taito and Namco should work together on Namco X Taito. Doesn't that light up your neurons like Christmas? Yes, it does. I've always wondered what the robot voice with an Asian accent says in your intro after you're listening now. You know, it sounds like Taiku. Was it an error by the software which generated the audio, and you decided to leave it in production? What is going on here? The TCR community needs answers. The first thing I was telling Desm about is called the RetroTink, not the RetroLink. There's a T, not an L. I think I think there's only one thing called the RetroTink. All right, lots of stuff in here. I can't remember what track we were listening to that shares a similarity with the Star Fox Corneria stage. But you asked about how I got banned from Reddit, so I'll tell you how. I got banned from one particular subreddit, and that was the retro gaming Reddit. It wasn't. I didn't get banned from all of Reddit, and I got silenced. I didn't exactly get banned, and here's what happened. When I first started going there, what I was doing was I would go there, and when I had, what do you call it? I had something cool to post, I would post it in retro gaming. And at that time, I was doing Atari-related openings. I was buying a lot of games for the Atari, and I would film the unboxings. And now the subreddit for retro games has something called the 9-to-1 rule. And the way they do it is you're allowed to promote. If you make a video, you're allowed to say, hey guys, I made this video, come check it out. But your self-promotion or your own content should not be more than 10% of your posts there. And thus, they have the 9-to-1 ratio of posts. 9 posts that are unrelated to your own content for each one post you make promoting yourself. Now, the mistake that I made was this was the first subreddit I had ever tried to participate in that I can remember. So I didn't realize that that wasn't a global rule. So I made my post and I started checking out other subreddits for my for my 9 other unrelated posts, and then I went back to retro gaming and I made another post. Now, when I did that, they warned me. They said, hey, 9-to-1 rule, remember? And it was an automatically generated thing. They picked up on it right away. I was like, oh, I must have miscounted. Maybe I did it. Maybe it's an off by 1 error. So then I did the same thing, and I went and posted a bunch of stuff on other subreddits, and I went back and I posted another video, and then right away, as soon as it went up, a bot picked up on it, and they were like, okay, you're banned. You violated the 9-to-1 rule. You can still hang out. You can still look at all the stuff, but you're no longer able to post. And if you try and circumvent this by creating new accounts, you could be permanently banned from all of Reddit. Wow. Okay. So that was pretty, it's something I didn't see coming. Now, after I got this ban, I waited 4 months. And I got involved in other subreddits during this time. I got heavily involved in cassette culture. That was the really big one. But there were other ones. There's a vinyl subreddit I visit on occasion. There's one called Home Lab, where people set up like servers and stuff at home that I check out. But I got more familiar with the site, and I now understand that each individual subreddit has its own rule sets. Really an embarrassing error, actually, on my part. But then after 4 months and figuring out the site, I wrote an email. I wrote a reply directly to my ban notice, and I let them know that I'm very sorry. It's really embarrassing, the mistakes I made, but it's been 4 months. I've learned the site better. Can you please remove the ban? Thanks and have a great day. And then they wrote back a 1-word letter that said approved. And then they unbanned me and let me back in. So it was a rightfully acquired ban that I got from not reading the rules carefully enough. And that's how it happened. Just know that each subreddit has its own localized set of rules. That's what I was forgetting, because people promote themselves all the time. It's nice that they still allow people to do it. On the cassette culture board, there's a guy who made a video about putting the Floral Shop album on an 8-track, and he posts that same video every single week like it's brand new. And it's reached a point where it's like, all right, dude, stop it. I know you put Floral Shop on a freaking 8-track. I understand. Look, it's an 8-track. It's pink. It's got Floral Shop on it. I get it. Stop posting the same video. Just stop it. So I don't want to be that guy. So, But that's what happened. So let's see what else. You talked about Namco and Namco and Taito. That would be really awesome. Taito's got some awesome games too. I've got a Taito collection complete in box that Hemrock gave me a couple years back. That's got some pretty sweet stuff on it. And I went through a phase where I was heavy into buying the old Pac-Man stuff. I think that might have even been like just this past Halloween. What did I end up with? I don't know. You're right. I don't really have anything to add to that, but you're right. That does sound awesome. And you also asked about what the Asian accent is that says after you are listening now. Now, the truth be told, so what happened was I was playing with a website where you could, it's text to speech. And I typed a lot of stuff. So the soundbite was actually the voice reading like a paragraph of things. And I had to cut that part out of the middle. And truth be told, I cannot remember. I doubt it was even a word. It was probably just like some letters put together. And I thought the way she said it sounded really funny. So I kept it. There have been times where I should have cut that out. But it's too late. You know what? After all this time, the text file that has the introduction is still called intro for now.wave. When was this thing created? Introfornow.wave was created August 3rd, 2010 at 3:57 p.m. Wow. Jeepers creepers. Was there anything else? And then we got the Retro Tank. Mecha Menace, my man. Thanks for writing in, brother. I hope you had an awesome Christmas. Demez, who I've not heard from in quite a while. How you doing, man? He writes, Trine and Trine 2 are awesome multiplayer games. And yes, D&D games from arcade support at least 3 players. Me and my nephews just played it. At least Shadows of Mysteria does for sure. Broforce is among the best 3-player games you can play, too, for sure. There's also a promo shorter version of Broforce that is 100% for free, too. Really? So grab at least that one. Me and my nephews beat it full retail Broforce 3-player, and it was awesome. People say Castle Crashers is a good 3-player, but I've not tried it yet. You know what, Demez? I haven't tried Castle Crashers either, but I've had it forever. I've had it forever. Actually, let's see when I bought it. So I'm going to look it up in my Steam account now. I don't know. I got it. Yeah, I do know. I got it in the Thanksgiving sale in 2014. So I've had this thing for a long time. It says I put 1 minute into it, but I don't remember even doing that. Man, it's good to hear from you. I didn't think I was going to hear from you again on TCR for quite some time. So listen, boys and girls, it's been a crazy week. We're only 43 minutes in. I know it's a short week, but you know what? We're all out of show. And as we move forward into New Year's, I hope you guys are with your families. And if you're not, I hope you're... I hope you got something near you that means something to you, and I just wish you all the best in the world. Remember, the New Year's coming, and all that stuff about New Year, new me, and New Year's resolutions and all that stuff. There's something to that, because all it takes is waking up with a different mindset to be able to change everything. You know, if you don't like what you got now, then we can use this new year to go out and get us something better. All right? And as we march forward, I'm wishing you all the best. I'll see you guys next week.